We welcome now former U.S. Border Patrol Chief Rodney Scott. He served under both the Trump and Biden administrations until his retirement in 2021. Rodney, great to have you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Kelly. Appreciate being on.
Oh, it's wonderful to have you. So both sides here agree more border enforcement is needed. But where should we set our expectations for today's meeting? What sort of agreement could reasonably be reached in your view?
I'm pretty skeptical. You can't export our immigration policy and our border security, and that seems like that's what this meeting is doing. We tend to forget this entire crisis was created by Biden administration policies. Mexico has been a good partner in the past when we put pressure on them to enforce their laws, but they have routinely throughout my career said, hey, we're only going to step up if the United States is going to step up. And the only thing that's going to end this current crisis is if we end catch and release. And that's what the Democrats in the Senate continue to fight against. They do not want people deported. They do not want people detained. And until you do that, you're not going to be able to beat the TikTok videos, the phone calls, the instant messaging from all the migrants you see on your screen once they're released into the U.S., going back home and telling other people that the borders are in fact wide open, regardless of what they see on TV as far as like a public official saying, well, they care about what happens on the ground, and everybody's being released.
And as you well know, Mexico is also facing an immigration crisis of their own. The border between Guatemala and Mexico is essentially wide open, and that's becoming a drag on Mexico's economy. Now, reportedly, Mexico doesn't have the Border Patrol resources to do anything about that. So how critical is it that Mexico get a handle on their own border issues? And do you think the U.S. may assist with that in any way?
So Mexico enforcing their own laws is a critical part to our border security, but you cannot beat the draw currently. If the U.S. borders are wide open, Mexico won't have the resources, and you're seeing that right now, to control the flow, and they won't have the willpower. The problem right now is U.S. policy. When the Biden administration shut down Remain in Mexico, they reduced the detention space and they started mass releases of people. That's when this mass migration significantly increased to these levels we've never seen before. And we're talking about immigration, which is important, but we're forgetting the fact that the cartels are using this mass illegal immigration as a distraction. There are no Border Patrol agents out currently. We're asking Mexico to set up checkpoints, yet the United States has shut down all of our immigration checkpoints in Arizona because agents are inside processing. This could be fixed, about 80% of it could be fixed with policy, to mandate detention, which is in law, and to reestablish the Remain in Mexico program, which this administration refuses to do. Until we actually fix our part, Mexico is going to suffer the consequences of the mass migration just pouring through their country.
Oh, we hear you loud and clear. We've heard that time and time again from folks at the border as well. There are real threats to our national security when you have thousands of people crossing the border every day. A lot of concern now about that specifically. You said policy needs to happen to stop the surge. How do we get a better handle and understanding of who's already entered into this country, and how concerning is that to you?
That's a significant concern because you have to understand how the cartels work and how criminal elements work. And we overcomplicate this, but just think about teenage kids in the U.S. that want to steal something from a store. They created a distraction so the storekeepers aren't paying attention, and then they do whatever they want. Well, that's what the cartels do with this illegal immigration. So it's what you're seeing on the screens. That's a threat, an economic threat in many ways, but the terrorism threat, the criminal threat, the narcotic smuggling threat, the cartel holds that back to be in the second wave after the Border Patrol, after law enforcement's completely overwhelmed, and we're not interacting with them. Even with that, though, record numbers of people on the National Terrorist Watch List are still being encountered in the groups that are surrendering. Record numbers of criminals, and Border Patrol is still tripping over narcotics pouring across the border while they're responding to these massive illegal immigrations.
So we have about 20.
We literally don't know what's going on right now. It's the big problem.
Understood. Unfortunately, we have only about 20 seconds left, but there was talk of action on Mexico's side, including checkpoints on rail lines and highways. Do you think that sort of action is enough, though, when you're talking about 10,000 people entering our country every day?
In concert with good U.S. policy that mandates detention and removal of people that do not have a right to be here, it would make a difference. But when our checkpoints are shut down and our borders wide open, asking Mexico to set up their checkpoints is kind of silly.
We've heard this frustration before, and we certainly appreciate you weighing in. Rodney Scott, Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.